Hey, it's Dr. J. Hi, everyone. So by request, I wanted to do a quick video on usajobs.gov. So first thing is first is usajobs.gov is the official website to go ahead and apply and search for federal positions. Now there's some imposters out there that say that you have to pay a fee or something like that. That is not correct. These positions are free to apply to, and you don't need an agent or a special hiring agency to do this. You can do this all on your own. So I'm on usajobs.gov, the platform, and as you see, it's super simple. It has the keywords over here and also the location. So for this example, we're going to go ahead and we are going to use Tampa, Florida as our example. And it pops right up. And search. All right, so this is going to show me all the positions that are currently available in or around Tampa, Florida. All right, you can always drill down a little bit more to get specific to your city or your zip code, things like that. But for this example, I'm just going to use Tampa, Florida. All right, so what I like to recommend and let people know is it's important to go to the sort by and click on close date. So the reason why you want to click on close date is because that's the date your application has to be submitted to the agency to be considered for the position. All right, very important. All right, there's some other things that can be a little confusing for those that may not be familiar. And as you see, there's quite a variances of jobs on here. So I'm going to use the management and program analyst position as my example. First things first, the starting salary is $64,009, and it's a range between a GS-11 and a GS-12. All right, and I'll get into that a little bit further. One thing I do want to focus on are these icons. So these are the icons that let you know who is eligible based on what the hiring manager and agency has deemed eligible for the position to put in for the application for this position. So as you see, you scroll over the little icons and it tells you who's eligible. Now, they also have hiring authorities. So just because you're eligible doesn't mean that you're going to rank the highest. And what I mean by that is in the federal sector, veterans preference in some job announcements has veterans and disabled veterans, what we call float automatically to the top. So what does that mean? It means no matter how many people put in for the particular position, the veterans' preferences are going to be at the top. And normally those are disabled veterans, VEOA veterans, and VRA veterans. Okay? And as you see, there's some other icons here. But for the most part, you can scroll over to see if that meets your eligibility requirement for the position. Another item I want to focus on is it easily tells you who is eligible by location, geographical location. So this is multiple positions with the Department of Veteran Affairs. All right, so we are in the management and program analyst position. So the first things first is the service. It's competitive, meaning that there's competition and all those people that are eligible to apply to it can. The salary has a range. Just to give you a heads up, most federal positions, the starting salary is the salary that's going to be offered, more than likely. There's a promotion potential, meaning that it starts at 11 and it goes up to a 12, and it's permanent. So what does appointment type mean? The permanent means that once you pass the probationary period of this position, if you are interviewed and selected, you have a permanent status in that agency. Okay, that's what that means, and it's full-time. So these are the locations. So what I like about USA Jobs is it also lets you know the other locations that may be opened for this position. So it says it's 7 vacancies, and these are all of the city and states that this is open and available for. Something else I love is it lets you know if it's telework eligible. This one is. So with teleworking, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be working primarily from home. You could be on a flex schedule, you could be on an intermittent schedule, you could be on a schedule where you're working on certain projects from home or from another location, a satellite location. So for this one, if the position is in St. Pete, Florida, and you live in Tampa, you may be assigned to a Tampa, Florida office, which is also considered teleworking, or you may be assigned to work from your home as long as you have the proper equipment. All right. They have a nice little video there that's new. The duties. So this breaks down the duties of the actual position and what you're going to be doing. I think that's really interesting and helpful. The work schedule, Monday through Friday, so obviously there's no weekends on this one, from 8 to 4:30. Flex, which is what I was talking about, the flex and compressed schedules is available, meaning that a compressed or flex schedule. So a compressed schedule is a person who may work a Monday through Thursday, but they get their 40 hours in during that Monday and Thursday. It's compressed and they have Friday off. A flex schedule is there's a time period in which you're able to flex in and flex out from working. So for an example, there may be a flex period of between 9 to 10, and as long as you're there between 9 and 10, and you're leaving between 5 and 7, you can flex in and out of those time periods. So you can work from 9 to 5, you can work from 10 to 6, things like that. All right, the location, they also talk about some other information there. The major duties. So these are the major duties that are deemed by the classification document of this particular position. So every federal position has a classification that goes along with it. All right, they have to have one. All right, and this is the classification, actually comes right up. So it's in the job family series of a 0343, and that is deemed management and program analyst. That's exactly what that job classification is. Some other requirements and then qualifications. So I like this section because for those that aren't familiar with the classification document of the federal sector, this gives you a little bit more information about what is required for a GS-11 or what is required for a GS-12. So for this, for a GS-12 position, you must have served 52 weeks as a GS-11. So if you have not been a federal worker with the Department of Veteran Affairs as a GS-11 in that particular series, then that does not pertain to you, and you would be applying to this as a GS-11. Okay? I hope that makes sense. If not, let me know if you have any questions. If you have worked for other federal agencies, they offer you an option to submit your SF-50, which is basically like a federal version of a DD-214 for working for another federal agency. All right, and then this talks about specialization experience. That's always nice. So this is the part that's really interesting. So the GS-11 specialization experience required, and then the specialized experience includes, right? Those sections go together under the classification document. But then there's a big or there. So this means that you can either have this information or the education in this particular job announcement. So you could have or education for a GS-11 position, a PhD or equivalent doctoral degree. Okay, so I think that's really interesting because when you're looking at these positions as a civilian, it's hard to know if you are eligible and or qualified to put in for it, so that way you know that your documents are going to be viable towards hopefully getting an interview. All right, and then education again. So something else they put in here is they also, for this position, have a combination of education and specialized experience. So say you don't have a PhD and you've never been a federal employee, but you do have some management analyst experience background. They could combine the education and your experience to qualify you for this particular position. All right, and of course you have to submit your transcripts. Unofficials normally are received and accepted, but then once you get selected, you have to submit your official transcripts. And then there's a background. So with federal positions, there's always a background section, and it lets you know what type of clearance is required. For this, none is required. So no security clearance is required, and no drug test is required. All right. Down here is the required document you have to submit with your application online. So you go through those and you see all the different items. Now, if you don't have all of these, my suggestion is to upload them to your USA Job resume and document section. So that way you already have them in there. If there's not enough room, then try to make one PDF with all of your documents on it at one time, and then you can submit it as another document and it still makes it into there. I hope that made sense. Basically, have a PDF, add all your PDFs to that one PDF, so that way you're able to put everything into your application without going over the number of minimum required documents that you need. Okay, if you have questions, let me know. All right, talks about the SF50 and then veterans preference. So this is what I was talking about with the veterans preferences. Depending on what type of veteran you are, whether you're disabled or honorably discharged, this goes through some of the different areas in here. And then some federal positions also allow for spouse and widows to apply as veterans because they receive veterans preference because they were taking care of a spouse or widowed. When you go down further, it talks about some of the benefits, how to apply. This is the most fantastic part. So 9 times out of 10, there's some kind of phone number at the bottom. So say you have a question on if your application was received in its entirety. You're able to go and either email the person or the email that's on here, or you're able to call. In some instances, it's an actual phone number to the HR specialist that literally is processing your application. In rare occasions, it's a 1-800 number because it's going to a bigger section where they're processing a lot of applications. Tells you about some next steps. I'll click on that. When you click read more, this tells you a little bit about the next steps once you submit your application. All right, have some legal items. And then that's it. So that's basically how you read a classification for USA Jobs. And I'm going back up. Okay. So over here, which I should have covered earlier. So say you're still confused about whether or not you're eligible to submit for this position. So over here it says this job is open to, and it lists all the different people and categories that are eligible to apply for this. Military spouses, what I was talking about before, and that's the symbol for recent graduates, students, and veterans. So it's not just a matter of USA Jobs is for veterans. It could be for anybody looking for interim positions or other positions. So I would encourage you to upload your resume, use that as your main resume, and also upload as many documents as you possibly can to ensure that you are the most viable candidate for your particular application that you have your dream career and your dream job for. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me. I'll leave my email at the bottom. And then also make sure if you needed any clarification on other things that you contact me directly, because I really want people to understand the significance and how this is a great tool for even if you don't want to apply to USA Jobs. Just using the resume builder alone will help you get more organized with your resumes. So until then, you have a wonderful day and you be safe and be great. All right, have a good day.